Welcome to Maker Conversations. I'm your host, Tiff Marchand from Night Carver Designs. And today on the show, I have Ethan from Ethan Carter Designs. If you don't know Ethan, he makes the craziest things out of leather, things that you would never think of making out of leather. And just awesome. Like, most recently, he did like a doggy bag holder, and I've seen him do like lighter covers, just really cool things that you wouldn't think to make for yourself. So I was super stoked to have him on the show. I actually had just got to hang out with him a few days, maybe a week or so before we recorded this at a Totalboat event where we watched a bunch of our friends build boats and race them in a crazy relay race, and it was really fun. So I was glad to have him on the show. And then I invited Mary Lou to join us from Made by Mary Lou, because I know they have a great history together and both admire each other's work. And of course, I love her, so it's always fun to have her on the show. If you have any questions after listening, let me know. Any feedback, you know I love to hear it. And here's just a quick little shout out before we start the show to Sabertooth Power Carving. We're going to be at the Maker Camp this fall in about a month, which is crazy. So I'm just ending my Bride of Chucky Carvathon, and I'm getting back into gearing up all things Maker Camp. So you're going to be hearing a lot of that from me. We're going to have a larger booth than last year. So if you came over and carved with us last year, you're going to see that it's a lot bigger space, and it's going to be a bunch of fun. So we're going to be doing spoon carvings, little epoxy carvings. If it works out for me, we're going to make like little custom coasters. I'm going to be doing some trial and error. So stay tuned for all of that. And thanks for sticking with me and the show, knowing that it's a sporadic release. You know it won't be consistent, but one thing that will be consistent is always going to be a good time. All right, I guess let's start the show. I am going to let our guest host in. Do you want to guess who might be?
I have no idea.
Like, ooh, look at those guitars.
Ah, yes.
All kinds of instruments. All right. Well, then you shall be surprised.
I can't wait. I love surprises. Actually, I don't know if I do love surprises, but I do love this kind of surprise.
Has the picture given it away yet?
I don't see a picture.
Oh, good.
Oh, Mary Lou. What is up?
Hi.
Oh my gosh. It has been a minute.
I know. Crazy.
Oh my gosh. Both of you are products of me getting sick right before Workbench Con. I didn't get to see you guys.
Yeah, I know. That sucked.
Yeah,
I was so excited.
I was so disappointed. You guys have no idea how disappointed I was. I was like, and I think I told you, Tiff, that was the first time I'd gotten it. It was nothing like, Bettina got it first. And so there was like, all right, I'll try to isolate a little bit because of Workbench Con. And it was just like 2 days before, it was just like, I woke up and I was like, nope. Yeah. And it wasn't like, I just felt miserable too. So it wasn't like I could even power through, even if I was going to be that person, but.
I feel it.
So how are you guys?
Good. Been busy. Very, very busy lately.
Hey, busy is good. Busy is good.
Yeah. Swamped. Actually, it's been a crazy summer.
Oh, yeah. I know. It's going so fast too.
It is. I can't believe it's August already.
I know.
What happened?
I know. But the only good part, at least for, I don't know, you're not coming, I don't think, Mary Lou, but we're that much closer to Maker's Camp, so.
Yeah, no, sad.
Bummer.
Everyone's like,
I know.
Literally spent a year trying to convince me to go, and I'm like, I just can't.
Yeah. No, it is a lot. I mean, it is a lot, especially if you're traveling. Like for us, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, we're just taking a little drive.
Exactly.
No, that's a completely different thing. I couldn't even imagine.
Yeah.
I would totally go if it was a drive.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, 1000%. And a drive that is not, equivalent to days.
Yeah, right. You're right. You technically could drive.
Right. Like, just do it.
Just get in your car. Come on.
Maybe someday. I'm like now tempted. I'm like, because if I drove, I could bring my dog.
Exactly. Well, and it's super dog friendly. I've been thinking about bringing mine, but I think Well, I think I told you, Ted, I've been trying to get my parents to go. I don't know if they're sold yet. They would love it. Like it'd be right up their alley. And it's such a like that's one of the things I like about it. Is that it's like so open to all ages, like kids to, there's not that, I love Workbench Con, but Workbench Con is geared more towards the content creators, those types of things. And Makers Camp is just this like wide open, everyone's welcome kind of thing. So if they came, I could bring my dog and they could babysit while I taught classes and stuff. But
there you go.
What a setup.
I know, it'd be nice.
He's gonna still work on that. It seems like he gotta hurry up.
I'm scheming.
It's getting close. It's at the point where people are starting to post like the countdowns,
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it is kind of right around the corner.
I still got to figure out exactly what I'm teaching, what the class is going to be, what I'm going to teach in my class. But
well, that's what I was going to say. Like, if you're like somebody who's actually going to be working it, like we're all just like, that's all you can think about. Like, what am I going to do for that? I got to do that. I got to get this prepped. Got to get this prepped. Like, there's so much that goes into it before we even get there, so.
Exactly. And
it's on our mind. It's on our mind.
It is. It absolutely is. And and it's just crazy that it's that close. I mean, it's just, I'm like, if we need to order things, Austin, we got to order them pretty soon, but.
Oh my God, that would stress me out. I'm so glad I'm not you guys.
Last year I'll admit, because I never taught a class before that. Like that was my first in-person class ever. So I was super like anxious about the whole thing. So this year it's a little bit nicer. At least I know what I'm getting into.
Yeah, it's always nice coming back around.
Yeah, for sure.
With some experience.
You learn so much just from like observing people too. Like, that first year that I went, I did teach, but it was like just on a picnic table chilling, right? So there wasn't really stress. But we saw everybody. Like I know Mary Lou and I were talking about like looking at the people who are in the blacksmith tent. Like they're out there and they're working all night and they didn't take any breaks. So like they were just burnt out by the end of it. So I was like, I knew when we were coming back with Sabertooth, I'm like, make sure I schedule breaks.
Yeah, you're saying that, which I think is really smart.
Well, make sure I have close off times.
Yeah, you got it. Well, and like the breakfast, the first morning. Yeah. So Saturday morning, the breakfast was like to order. And so it took forever. And and so I was like, my class is starting in like 5 minutes. I can't wait any longer. So luckily it might have been Christy, actually. It might have been Christy that was like, we'll bring you the food, because I had nothing in my stomach and I was like teaching class. Like, so it's to your point, you almost have to make sure you schedule time to eat,
Oh, like, I do. I do.
Yeah.
I don't mess around.
No, you do not.
The important things. They're the important things.
There are the important things. So what made you want to teach for the first time last year?
That's a good question. Well, so I was actually at earlier that year. So what was that? 2022, right? So in March of 2022, I did the Make 48 Nationals, and I was there with Lucas and Dre and a bunch of our friends. And while I was there, just kind of randomly, Austin reached out, and again, I asked him after, because I taught a class in this past February at the Blackthorn Resort, and I was kind of like asking him, like, I was like, why did you reach out? And he's just like, I liked what you do, so, which is super nice. I mean, that's like the nicest thing anyone could ever say, for right? Sure. And that's Austin. Austin's amazing. But yeah, so he just reached out while I was there, and I just remember turning to Lucas and Dre being like, Austin just asked me if I wanted to teach a class at Makers Camp, and they're like, are you kidding? I was like, yeah, no. It's like, so that's how it started. And then we had a conversation, and again, me trying to not get in my own way in terms of my nerves and anxiety about that kind of thing. Because it's, we've all taught a lot on social media, right? I've done however many YouTube videos. That's teaching, right? But that's teaching on my time and my pace, and I can edit, so teaching a class with people was completely like anxiety driven for me. But it was one of those things where it's like, you can't pass up that opportunity. And so yeah, so we worked it out and went back and forth with me. Me and Austin went back and forth and tried to figure out the right project, and put a lot of time into it. And kind of the approach that I took, and Austin agreed, was the class is less about what you're making, and it's more about the skills that you're trying to learn from making that thing, right? And so again, that's why I'm trying to not get too fixated on whether people want to make the thing that I'm teaching this year or not, because that's not really what it's about. It's about getting the skills necessary to teach, to do other leatherworking projects. So we landed on a wallet, which is a no-brainer. I mean, that's a very, very good beginner project, and it has a lot of the fundamentals. I mean, it's most of the fundamentals of leatherworking. It's doing the adhesive, punching the stitching holes, doing the stitching, doing the edge finishing. So it encapsulates a lot of the leatherworking skills, those kind of that translate to a lot of other projects. So that's kind of the goal with what I'm trying to teach, is not to, the wallet you're going to walk away with is not going to be a wallet that necessarily you'll want to use, right? It's not going to be the prettiest thing. It's your first project. Yeah, but it's also your first project. So, I always have a sentimental thing with the first whatever I make, right? But yeah,
me too, totally.
Yeah, right. I mean, it doesn't matter how ugly it is or how bad it is. You did it, right? So I always try to remember. I'm trying to remember that as well. But yeah, so we landed on that, and we went back and forth on tools, and Weaver sponsored it last year, so they sent a bunch of starter kits, which was great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and yeah, so that's how it happened, and it was awesome. I kind of and then Austin had a die cutter for a specific wallet, so he sent me a couple examples of it, so I could put it together, make sure I felt like we could do it in the hour, and for the most part, we did. I mean, there was a lot of stitching. Stitching takes a lot. Hand stitching takes a fair amount of time, so I'm trying to cut back on that this year, because that was really the bottleneck, if there was a bottleneck. But that's another reason, Tiff, to your point, like that's another reason why I didn't have a lot of time, because I wasn't gonna, even though the class was an hour, I was more than happy to
stay
hang
and
out.
finish, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna just walk away when someone's working on a project, and so that was the bottleneck. So I think some people finished it in an hour, most people didn't. I also brought a bunch of cheap needles and thread for people to take with them if they wanted to go to another class and didn't want to. So I tried to think about that as well. So yeah, it was super fun. I mean, it was I got through the first one. I may have had a shot before my first one, just to ease my nerves a little bit.
Nothing's
if we're
wrong
going to be
with
fully
that.
transparent, if we're going to be
Get it.
And then Grant also helped. Grant Alexander, he offered to help out last year.
Awesome.
Which
nice.
That also made it a little bit nicer having a second person there to kind of, when I forgot to say a step, he could jump in and say a step. And we've got someone else helping me this year that just offered up. He came to the class last year, and he came to
That's awesome.
He came to the February class, the winter class, which was a weekend long intensive class, and he came to both of those, and he's just one of the sweetest guys. So, and he just wants to be a part of it, I think, and I love it. So I mean, I hope he doesn't feel like he has to do all of them, but it's super nice to have the help,
Hey, everyone wants to be in the band.
Exactly.
It's true, though.
Well, the fun part too is this year Dennis is also, Austin's also bringing in someone to do leather, like tooling, so stamp, carving and stamping and stuff like that, which I know nothing about, and it's actually one of my buddies, and so that's really exciting. I'm excited to learn from him as well. So
21 grams, is that what his name was? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I had Austin on the other day. That's the only reason.
Okay. Yeah. So Dennis, he was from what I mean, we've been buddies for a long time. He had a podcast for a while that was on, and what a talent, man. That guy, he picked up leatherwork and went 100 million miles per hour into it, and just
he does really cool things.
He's so cool. Really, I mean, he's an artist. I mean, well, I think his background is a tattoo artist.
Makes sense.
So he brings a lot of that style and look to it. I mean, he's made like leather portraits, like his Johnny Cash. Go look at
That's cool.
yeah, if you get a second, and gonna have to scroll way back because it was early on, but he did a portrait of Johnny Cash that's all just hand tooled leather and then painted. It's mind boggling to me.
That's cool. I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. So I'm super excited to meet him and get to hang out with him. That's the thing. That's, I think, the best part of all these events is the people, right?
Yeah.
Oh, totally.
Like, I'm stoked to be carving with Cecilia. Like, I cannot wait to be sitting there and just like teaching a class with her. Like last year,
she didn't come. She didn't come last year, right?
No, she went to Workbench Con.
Yeah,
and she was teaching there, but I was working Workbench Con, so I wasn't like hanging out.
Yeah, she's awesome. Yeah, I met her in the 2020 Workbench Con.
That's when I met her.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
2019.
No, I think it was 2020 because it was right before COVID. So that,
yeah.
I think that's.
I think I met
I don't think she was at
2019.
2019. I don't think she was there at 2019, or maybe she was, and I didn't know her then. But
no, I think you're right. Yeah, it was 2020.
But
I just like feel like
nice person.
I just love how we love her so much, though.
I know she is the best.
I love her so much. She's so close to me too. I really need to go down there.
Yeah, she is.
Is she really? Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, she's like an hour away from me.
Oh,
she's like in the San Diego area. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah,
she's a sweetie.
She is a sweetie. She's awesome. I'm glad that she's teaching now too. Like she absolutely needs to be. I mean, she's got the
skills.
She's got the skills, and she just has a really nice eye for aesthetics. I mean, that's
also just kind of like watching her.
Yeah.
Is just a little bit fascinating because you just like the skill.
Yeah.
Just watching that skill set and the way she handles those tools, it's like, and I got to film it, so it was like even a little bit more exciting for me. And I was like, it's just like gold. Yeah,
I know. I'm amazed at what you guys can do with the carving tool. Like, I've done so little with it, and it's, to me, it was like scary, and things were moving really fast. And
would you try? Did you try like a big wheel?
So I have the Arbortech, and I have.
I figured that's what he tried first, was like the turbo plane.
Yeah, that's what I tried first. Yeah, I mean, not the turbo plane, but the discs.
The disc,
the big ones. Yeah.
I tried the turbo plane first, and I was just like, it was a little bit too scary when it jumped. It jumps.
It jumps. It hops, scary. Right? Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it's a big kickback, and they warn you. Like I saw like a live demo, and they're like, be really careful. If you hit, it's gonna bounce. Like, it does what it needs to do. Like it works really nice.
It removes material.
But yeah, I felt more comfortable with the Sabertooth wheel just because like if you go soft and slow, it still does all the work you need, and you don't really feel that kickback, So like that was the reason I wanted to go for it.
Yeah, there's a lot out there. I don't know if you guys watch Make Something TV, David Picciuto, but he just did a video this past week on, he bought all the things from what's that? Temu. TEMU.
Yes.
And he just did familiar. Yeah. And so it's video, all knockoff, like basically copies of other brands' things. And he bought a carving disc, like the Arbortech, for I think it was like $10 or something like that. And he was like terrified to use it. And I was like, I'm terrified for you to use it.
Yeah, I'd be very scared.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's not something you want to mess around with. I don't.
No, you want to trust a company that's been around for a while, and that their burrs aren't going to fly off and hit you when you're using them. Like, that's the thing. Like, when you use a good brand, they're going to last for years.
Right. Well, and you can resharpen them too, right? Can't you? Some of them? Not the burrs, but the Arbortech ones.
Oh, the Arbortech, the blade systems. Yes. I believe you. I would think.
I think you can. Yeah. It's like good tools last, right? I mean, that's what you're paying for, is the
what you pay for,
the design and the longevity of it. Right?
No, it's true. You don't want to spend that money, but when you do, it's like, I love that reaction when people try Sabertooth for the first time, and they'll like DM me, and I'm just like,
I bet will be my experience, because like I said, I'm still like, it was a little bit of a terrified when I used the Arbortech, and that's nothing against the tool. It's just
it's a scary tool.
It's an aggressive tool, right? I mean, it's spinning fast, and it's aggressive, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's awesome.
What do you want to carve?
I don't know. It's so funny. I've become so known for leatherworking that it's like it's good. I mean, and I love it. It's not a I'm doing it just for Instagram by any means, because I do truly love it. But I didn't start that way. I mean, I fell into leatherworking, and then it kind of niched down on it, which again I think was the right thing for me, for especially with my size shop and my, what I, it's just that it works for me. But I do miss the woodworking and kind of the repurposing and all that kind of stuff that I really did way before leatherworking. So I don't know exactly, but I've realized recently that I need to start doing more woodworking and that kind of stuff again, because I miss it. And even if I don't film it, I mean, that's part of the problem is, and again, you shouldn't chase things for the algorithm, but like, if I'm going to spend the amount of time, if I'm going to spend time making a video and editing a video for content, it's my audience is more geared now towards expecting the leather work. And so if I'm going to spend that time, doesn't mean I should not spend time on other projects, but it's, so I've started doing some woodworking projects that I just don't film. And it's actually really, really refreshing to have just to make. Just make to make. You kind of lose that sometimes. Yeah. So I just love to experiment with it and make a bowl, make a end table, whatever it is. I think it would be really, really fun.
I like to do that once in a while too. Just like, if it's like something for my house too, I find it's like the easiest thing not to film. Just like, I just want to fix this issue and not have to worry about a video today.
Well, and this is going to be, maybe this is too much information, but we have 2 dogs, and we walk them, and we're conscientious, and we pick up their whatever, and we had a bucket on our driveway that we put the bags in, right? And but it's just a bucket. It was ugly, and so last weekend or the weekend before, I just got a couple 2x4s and a bunch of like fence, what do you call them? Fence posts, not posts, but like the things that you put between them. Staves.
I don't know. We're getting real technical here.
Real technical.
Fence thingies.
Yes, fence pieces of wood that are kind of rounded and are pointed at the top. Maybe slats. We'll go with that. And so I just went to the Lowe's and got a couple 2x4s and a bunch of those, and I made a little, like, almost like a planter box, I guess you would kind of call it, to put over this little bucket. And it was super fun. It was, I used pocket holes and glue and my nail gun and my table saw, and whipped the thing out in an hour maybe, if that. And it was just super fun just to make something quick, fun, functional, to your point, for the house, and not have to worry about where the camera was set up or whatever.
Yep. Did I move it? Did I get that angle?
Yeah,
so I have to shoot this.
Exactly. Yeah.
I get
Although I think the thumbnail for a poop container box probably would not be the most, that would be a tough thumbnail to get a good image for. So probably a good thing.
I don't think so. I think it'd be great. You just like show the product and then poop emoji above it. Boom.
And that's why you're Mary Lou. That's why you're you. That's why I need to consult you on my thumbnails, I think.
Down. I just did a little woodworking this past weekend, and it's been a minute. And it was the shortest, like briefest amount of woodworking, but it did take me like a long time because I was using a track saw.
Yes.
And it was hard to do like repetitive cuts, and I was literally just notching out a 4x4.
Okay.
And like on some table legs so that I could see into
Gotcha. Yeah.
The bottom. But all I did was cut out that notch, and I had the time of my life, and I filmed like a million angles. And I made a reel out of it, and I was like, this is so stupid. I'm not even doing anything. And it's like doing pretty good. I'm like,
yeah, well, that's the thing.
Like,
sometimes sometimes the quickest ones or the most those
People
are the
love
ones that
seeing just the removal of wood.
Yes.
It's like, oh, look at that chisel. It took off a tiny piece of wood.
It's that oddly satisfying thing, right?
Exactly. And then I'll like spend weeks on an idea, create it, edit it, wait a few more days to post it at the time that I think is going to be right. And then
you work on that thumbnail, that title, everything. And it's like,
yes. I'm like, what the, expletives. you know?
Yep. Yeah, it's like a mean joke that the algorithm plays on us for sure.
Yeah.
But
such is social media.
Exactly. Yep, exactly.
It's tough.
Yep.
I know. I'm sitting on a video right now that I'm like, should this just be 3 videos? Because it just was like too much. I'm like, so I'll just hold on to that for another 2-3 days while I think about it. Those are the kind of things that torment us. They're like, and
well, exactly.
I'm usually pretty quick with my decisions, but sometimes.
Well, and it's hard too, because to your point, like sometimes you're like, is this enough for a video? And then other times you're like, is this too much for one video? It's what is that right balance? And it's definitely is tricky sometimes to figure out what the right balance is. And like sometimes I'm like, is this video a teaching video, or is it just a kind of watch me?
That's what I'm
Watch me work and think my process, and
it has
that, right.
spoofs in it, like it has lots of jokes, but then I was doing an ad. So it was an ad that has gone wrong type of video.
Yeah.
And I'm like, maybe it should be 3 different videos or 2 different videos and just make the damn ad and then do the other videos later.
Yeah.
Hence my problem. Sorry, what were we going to say, Mary Lou? Or do you remember?
I used to really struggle with editing things down to 1 minute. And I'm still that way because I have this mindset where I want to tell like a whole story from beginning to end, but people don't have the attention span for that.
Nope.
So now I'm kind of getting into this mindset of like really short, grabby things, maybe at most like a 40-second type of a thing, and it's not a story. I'm just like doing, like I said, the dumbest shit.
Yeah.
Would do a time lapse of me with a track saw and like the end. And like,
yeah,
okay,
but those are those things that people literally get 8 million views on.
Yeah.
You could. I think a part of it too was that I did some editing like in on my computer, but then I just kind of pulled in raw clips essentially into Instagram and edited from there, and then picked like a trendy song, and I was like, fine.
I'll
I have
do
a
it.
real hard time with that.
And I was like, oh, it's like successful, great.
Yeah.
I'm just mad.
It means less when you don't have a song or something that like means something to you, or you post what you really want to post. You're trying to like get the views because that's the reason we're creating.
Yeah, no, and I've said this to a lot of people, but like that was there was a moment when there was a time when I was trying to do what everyone, what Instagram, what you're supposed to do for Instagram, consistency, multiple times a week, everything like that. And I wasn't having fun. It was like, it was not enjoyable for me. That was probably the time when I felt like I was chasing the algorithm versus my passion more than ever. And so I know I've said this a million times on other things, but I made the decision. I was like, what I enjoy doing is putting out 1-minute videos of a complete project that I'm proud of. And that's what I'm going to do. And so now I do basically 2 videos a week. And most of the time right now, it's a throwback now that for one of those videos. And I'm happy, it doesn't, I'm maybe not appeasing the algorithm, but I'm appeasing myself. Right. And I'm happy with what I'm putting out there. And I think that's really important because that's how you don't burn out too. Like I was getting to the point where I'm just tired of this and I'm not enjoying it. And it's not really working anyway. It's just one of those things. So like, I actually really love trying to tell a story in a minute. Like to me, that's like a fun challenge. But to your point also though, like that lends itself to smaller projects, which in itself is a trap too, because just like woodworking, I miss making bigger things. And so where do you dedicate the time, right? Where do you spend the time making the smaller projects that you can do a 1-minute video, or do you forego those videos and spend some time making a bigger one? And I don't know, I struggle with that sometimes of where's the time spent, because my YouTube, like a full YouTube video takes me so much longer and it gets almost no views. And it's just like, is that where I want to be doing it? If it's something I want to make, then it's worth it, right? But if it's just something that I want to make content out of it, is that worth it? And I don't know if it is,
What are your goals with social media and stuff? Like, what do you do during the day? What, do you have a day job, I assume? And
Yeah,
then,
I have
okay.
So yeah,
Let's
so
find
I
out
work,
some background about you.
yeah, background on Ethan.
Let's dig in.
Yeah, so I work for Gorton's Seafood up in Gloucester, Massachusetts.
Okay.
Great company. I've worked there since I graduated college, so I've been there since 2006. Been in many different roles while I was there, but super great company. Really like them. I love the company. I love the people I work for. I like the work, but my commute is god awful. I mean, it took me 2 hours to get home tonight.
Oh
So
my God.
Oof,
yeah,
that's rough.
yeah. So that is a sticking point. I mean, I would love to do this in some capacity full time. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, that would be
yeah.
ideal. And if I love the content creation part of it, and the creativity part of it is what I truly love. The idea of being a full production shop does not, like, I don't enjoy making the same thing over and over and over again.
You don't want to produce a product line.
Right. So I don't think I'd ever be just that by itself. But I also don't think, especially, I mean, I think, who knows where YouTube's going to be in 2 years. I mean, it's everything's changing so fast. And so, but I think most realistically, if I ever could do this full time, it would be a combination of the two, right? It would be some content creation and some product sales. I think that's probably the most realistic. The problem with that is I just don't have the space. So, like, I don't have a space to make things efficiently. I mean, my shop is literally, I can touch both walls with my arms stretched out. I mean, I've got long arms, but still, it's a pretty small shop. And I have to take the table saw out into the driveway to use it. That doesn't work in the winter. So that is a limiting factor on my ability to do production. And that doesn't mean I can't get a shop, right? If I was going to do it full time, rent a shop, build a shop, whatever. But it's harder to kind of build to that, to where you're building like 50, your I can't think of the words. Subsidizing, X% of your income, and then you're like, okay, I can take the leap. It's harder to do that without the shop.
So
right?
hard.
Yeah. I mean, so yeah, I mean, ideally I would love that, to be able to create, and I'll just leave it at that. To be able to create as a full-time job I would love it. And I was actually saying this to Bart of
Komar?
Komar Project at when we were at the Totalboat thing. We were talking about this, and I was like, it would be a lot easier, like, if I hated the people I worked with, I hated the job, it'd be a lot easier to be like, I got to do something else. So it's a little bit of that, as well as like, I like the job, I like the work, I like the people, it's like, it's harder to make that leap.
I didn't hate my job until like year 11 there.
Yeah.
And then once I started hating my job, I was on a path to getting the hell out of there.
And
absolutely,
like, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. I mean, but like, that's a motivating factor, and it's hard when you don't have that. At least for me, it's a hard thing. And the other thing too is, like, if if I think back, I've been with Bettina for 8 years now, and we own a house together and all these things. Like, but think about, if I had discovered this space 9 years ago, right? That's another factor. It was just on me. I don't have anything else that depends on me other than me, right? So there's that factor of it as well, which makes it harder. So who knows? I don't know. Bettina is super supportive of me trying to figure it out. She wants it for me, but I don't know. I haven't figured out the right path yet.
What about selling like kits for people? Because you do these crazy things and you kind of invent molds for all these things. Why not show people how to do that, and or have like little kits they can go and do it at their house?
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I mean, I think that there has been a mind shift for me recently of what can I batch out, or what can I sell whole, like, what can I make wholesale, or what do I need to be able to make some things wholesale, and or how do I design, to your point, make molds or make templates and stuff like that I can at least start edging my way towards something, whether it's ever ends up there or not, like might as well. And one of the big things I think is I do need a leather sewing machine, because I love hand stitching. I really do. It's actually like a very therapeutic thing for me, but it limits what I can make and what I can make efficiently and profitably. So that is something I'm actively working on figuring out, is how to get a leatherworking machine that fits in a space that I can use it. So
how much do those usually run? They must be pretty expensive, or
they can run from, you can get one for like $600, which is too cheap, to $5,000, right? So
we're talking about her buying the better tool, right?
Yes, exactly. I think there's one that I'm looking at right now that's around 1,400, and it's the right one for me. I think it's not everyday production level, but it's high enough quality that it would work, and it's got a pretty small footprint too and it's designed specifically for leatherworking, which basically it has a speed reducer. So a lot of the industrial machines are powerful enough, but for leatherworking, you want to be able to really reduce the speed.
Right, it's much thicker material. You're not gonna
exactly.
It's not gonna flow through.
You can get a lot of converters and stuff for them, but then you end up spending more just on converting them. So I think I found the right one. I've got to email out to them. I doubt anything's going to happen, just from what I've talked to other people about. So I've got an email out there just to see if I can work anything out. But
I love trying to get free stuff if you want.
Yeah, it's well, and I said it in my pitch. I'm like,
I really do.
Super motivated.
Let me know. I'll help you pitch some more.
Yeah. It's like I'm super motivated to make something work. Like, let's make something work, So
yeah, pitch them an idea.
Exactly. Right.
You know what I mean?
You can't go. All they can say is no, right?
Yeah. I don't share all the deals I get sometimes. I got a nice deal today, and I was like,
yeah,
congrats.
Thank you. Bessie's sending me 8 giant clamps, like giant ass clamps, because I'm like, how am I gonna clamp this Bride of Chucky that I've got going on? I'm like, I don't have clamps big enough. So I reached out to them. It took a few days, but like today was the day they were like, yes. I was like, because I'm
That's awesome.
My dad has a bunch that I've given him from over the years that are big, but they're not great. So it would have been a lot of like making it work. And I'm like, I just want to set it and forget it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I don't want to have to be scared that it's going to tip over or some,
Well, and it like saves time later too. Like a lot of times I can make something work, but it actually ends up just with more sanding or more whatever later down the line. So that's awesome. Congrats.
I'm very excited.
Bessie is awesome. I just got a clamps. Few. Yeah, they're nice, huh?
They are. They're really nice.
Yeah.
That's why I say I'm like, you need help coaching, pitching ideas. Let me know.
I will hit you up too.
Yeah, I love it. Mary Lou knows. I'm always like,
I personally love it so much.
I'm like, what do you want to get? Let's talk. What can we pitch them?
Well, you'll like come up with ideas before I even think it's a possibility.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a skill. I mean, it's definitely a skill,
and it's definitely not one I have.
No.
And she'll just be like, DM them and say this. I'm like, okay. And then it works. I'm like, what magic is this?
That's another skill set though that I'm getting better at. Like that's not a natural thing for me to be like, hey, look at me. You like, I deserve you to give me, like,
it's having confidence in yourself first.
Yeah.
To say that I can do this, I can produce this, and like knowing that you're going to execute whatever you're promising. I think that's what it is. Like, I have full confidence that I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I might stress myself out about it for a month, but I will get it done.
Yeah.
And then now I'll have those giant clamps in my garage. So then I'll never have to worry about, can I make that project? Because now I'm like, oh wait, I have those clamps. Like, it opens up a huge possibility in my shop too. So that's what I'm really excited about it. And like I was telling Mary Lou earlier, I pitched Carhartt a really funny reveal idea too for the project that I'm working on. So like, I told Bessie about that, and I'm like, I'm going to try to make this a very fun, like, video for your clamps, and hopefully it gets noticed, like I'm really going to put the work in.
Well, and it's cross pollination too for them, right? I mean, it's like that's another big thing I think that the brands that get it, and Bessie I think is one that gets it. I mean, Totalboat absolutely understands
they
this.
get it.
And that's the thing too, is like anytime someone reaches out for anything, I'm like, here's what I'm like, I can do this many dedicated videos or posts, like I will do that. But like I'm also like, look at the brands that I work with. They get shout outs all the time, right? I'm guaranteeing it because you need to, like, we should guarantee so that there's a mutual agreement, right?
Exactly.
But that's, trust me, that's not going to be the end of it, especially if I love your product and I love you guys.
It's just a start. I was telling Mary Lou, it's like those little baby steps. You just start getting to know the people. Then you get a product eventually, you know, or you buy it yourself, you start tagging them. They start to see like you're here, you're producing, you're sharing constantly. Like they can trust you that they're going to be able to give you product, and then you're not just going to disappear, because that happens on Instagram.
No, I think there's a lot of people that
accounts
do that.
Go away too.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I think unfortunately there's a lot of people that not abuse it, but take advantage of it.
Yes. No, there are.
I think that's the difference too, is I think, and that's, again, it's an insecurity thing, but I don't want to be perceived as someone that's just reaching out for freebies, because that's not who I am. Like, I'm reaching out because I want to work with you as a brand. I don't want just a free whatever. And unfortunately I think there's people that do that, and that taints it a little bit, you know, that's makes it harder for the rest of us. But
yeah. A lot of us can't afford those tools that we really want, that are going to change our lives. And for us, like, getting the tools and providing content is a great way to do that. I know, like, in the beginning of my podcasting career, people would be very bitter about me saying, like, yes, I take free tools for content. Like, but you need to get paid. You know, it doesn't help us all. But, you know, like right now, those clamps in my shop are going to really help me, you know?
Right.
So like, next time we work together, sure. Like, maybe we can start talking money if what I'm doing is working. But like, let me get my foot in the door here first.
Well, exactly. I think you're spot on with that. I think that's a little bit of my comment of, like, I'm very motivated to make something work with them, because I would love to, like, it's the right machine for me. And I'll, to be honest, between us, I will probably buy it either way.
I get it. Yeah.
I would much rather have a partnership and be able to support you. And I think there's benefits to my quote unquote audience of me explaining why I picked this machine, why I, you know, what I think about it, all those things, and growing with me. Like, there's a benefit to that for them as well. And if I buy it myself, I'm going to be less inclined to, I don't know,
shout them out and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I probably still will, just because that's who but like, I'd rather be,
but like, as often.
Yeah, exactly. I'd rather be excited about it versus feeling like I was doing something for free, you know, like, I don't know.
No, I definitely will not give anybody shout outs too. If I like didn't like the experience with them or something.
Oh yeah.
I won't mention them. I'm just like, it's like, treat
well, and I'm always honest about that too. If they're like, if someone's like, I want to we'll send you free product, and I'm like, I'm happy to do that. And if I like it, I will say that. If I don't, I won't say anything bad, but I'm not gonna be fake, you know. And I think that is authenticity is a super important thing. I think it should be super important for all of us in this space, because again, I think that makes it's bad for everyone if people are unauthentic, because then the trust is lost, and that hurts all of us.
No, totally. I don't know about you guys, but I get anxiety when somebody buys something that I recommend, because
oh my gosh, yeah,
like, until they use it, I'm like, oh my god, I hope they like it. Oh my god, I hope they like it, because I told them that I love it, and if they don't like it, then they're gonna think I'm a liar. Like, I just start getting, I'm like, even though I know I love it, but I'm like, oh, so exactly, like, I would never say that I love this thing knowing that somebody might buy it because of that, and then they hate it. Like, I don't want anyone to curse me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And there's times where I've been like, I like it for these reasons, and it works for me for these reasons, but just know that that's why I like it. If you're using it for something else, I can't say that it's going to work for you. Like, you know, I try to be really honest with them of like, perfect example is I tattooed my boots.
I saw that.
Yeah. I was telling you about that, right? And I got a super cheap kit. It was like $25 or something off of Amazon. And it worked for that project. And that's what I wanted it for. Like I'm not going to start there's not going to be a booth at Makers Camp where I'm tattooing people. Trust me.
Let's go.
You're all welcome. You're all welcome.
Now she's coming.
Yeah, now, yeah,
getting in a car now.
I heard Ethan
is tattooing. But and a couple people reached out and were like, "Oh, what's the tattoo kit that you use?" And I sent them the link and I said, "Listen, I wanted something to have a fun new experience doing this project, and I might use it for a couple other things, but like it did the job for this project. I cannot recommend you buy it for any other use than what I used it for, but it worked for what I used it for. You know, I think to me that's being transparent. But
no, it is.
I think that's the best that we can do. You know,
yeah.
It's just, if you're asking me for my opinion on something, I'm definitely going to give you how I feel about it, but also take it with like a grain of salt, because my experience won't be the same as yours.
Right. I mean, right. We all have different things we're going to do with it, and different experience and different skill sets too.
I was just going to say that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like you might be more skilled than I am in something, and vice versa or whatever.
Right.
So.
Yeah. That's I'm working on that tip. I'm working on my pitches and my brand stuff.
Well, going to events, I feel like also helps you, because people already know what you do for the most part when you're meeting them in real life. And then it kind of helps boost your confidence because they're talking to you about what they see you doing, and they'll compliment you. And like, honestly, that does help you. Like, oh, okay, they do see me for who I am. Cause like for me, I'm a person who has a lot of anxiety. I'm anxious, you know, like, so when I'm teaching somebody, in my head, I'm like, they know more than I do, and they're probably looking at me like I'm crazy as I'm trying to teach them what I know, or you know what I mean? Like, who's this girl telling me this? You know, like, so I like those thoughts are always in your head. You gotta.
What's the imposter syndrome?
Yes,
like that.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. I know that's a little bit of. I'm worried about Dennis being in the tent while I'm teaching my leatherworking class, because I'm a little worried that he's going to be like, "What is this guy? Who does he think he is teaching a leatherworking class?"
Oh,
I know, but no, I'm just joking. I mean,
but I get it.
Yeah,
come on, I've got Cecilia, who we all just complimented for like 10 minutes earlier as my carving partner. So talk about like, we're going to be carving side by side, doing like wheel demos.
So what are you are you teaching like a specific how to make something, or are you teaching like the skills?
So
I mean, obviously both, but
we're gonna have spoons, and kind of like
spoons,
you learned last year about like, you know, changing things, making it a little easier. I actually have Ryan from another piece of wood workshop. He has a bunch of small pieces of wood that's maple that he was just gonna get rid of because he's not using them. And I was like, hey, don't throw that away. And he's like, oh, why? What do you need it for? And I explained, like, we're gonna make spoons at Sabretooth's tent. So I sent him 3 templates today. He's carving them on his CNC like this week, and he's gonna send them over to us. Yeah, because I saw all that beautiful wood. I'm like, please, because he was like, I'm gonna burn it today, and I'm like, don't burn it. So we're gonna get some beautiful maple spoons that people are gonna carve. We're gonna team up with Totalboat. Speaking of Totalboat, we're gonna have a couple different ways where we're gonna incorporate epoxy and carving. And
you're right. Yeah, because you're saying like people are like weird about carving epoxy, right? I mean,
they don't. Not many people do it.
Yeah,
like I think they're scared, or like they don't know like the proper way to do it. Now, not that Cecilia and I are pros at all about carving epoxy, but we're going to be teaming up with the Totalboat people, so we can ask them all kinds of questions. If they have other questions about the epoxy, we can just send them to their tent. So that's the nice part. Like, I don't have the fear of like, I'm an epoxy pro. I'm like, no, this is my first time. Most things that I teach people on, it's my very first time doing it. So I've gotten very comfortable with that, like the inexperience, and I'm also giving you tips.
Right. Well, I think it's also, I think it comes across, I say this, I've said the same thing every leatherworking class I've taught. I'm like, I'm YouTube trained, right? Like that's how I learned, and experience trained. And I definitely don't do things maybe the professional technical way. I do things the way that I learn them and the way that works for me. And I'll tell you, like, when I do something that's different than quote unquote the proper way to do it, if I know that, I will tell you the quote unquote proper way to do it. I'll also explain why I do it my way, and then you can decide. But it's we weren't apprentices to master craftsmen in these fields, right? We learn, we're makers, and we're really good at it, but we're not.
It's a lot of people learning later in life, at their house, in their garage, experimenting and watching YouTube, like you said. Like that's how a lot of people learned. And like there's that, like you said, that you don't have those years of like, this is the way that we've always done it, unless somebody like learned from an apprentice on YouTube,
And I think that's actually probably a good thing, in my opinion. Like, again, I'm coming from a place, but to me, that's the kind of person I'd want to learn from too. Is like, I want someone that has learned it because they love it, and is not stuck in their ways. But that's just.
I learned from a Facebook group how to carve signs.
There you go. Exactly.
Like, that's how I learned. I didn't know how to do it. I joined a group on Facebook, listened to them for a couple of months, and then I just dove in and bought all the stuff they recommended. Me being a nerd, I also compiled a beautiful spreadsheet of everything that everybody recommended for the last 3 months, categorized it, and put links for Amazon. Because that's who I am. I still have it if anybody wants to get into hand-routed carving signs.
There you go. I love it.
Just saying.
It's the kit. There you go.
There's my kit.
How to get started.
Dude, I saw makers starting to write books now. Kendra just wrote a book.
I saw that. I saw Kendra. Yeah, that's awesome.
How to make a wood sign. I was like, good for you.
One of her posts was like, what did I get myself into though?
With the shipping of all the books.
The shipping. Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Shipping's never fun. Even if you're making money and you're excited because someone's bought something, it's like, oh gosh, all right.
Yeah, I mean, that is one of the things too. If you're gonna sell a lot of products, you really do need like a shipping station. It's because that's the other thing too, is it's hard to find space sometimes, like to package things nicely. And I don't know.
Oh my God, I have so much like shipping stuff, and I haven't been shipping anything for like a year. But like I've just been spending the last month decluttering, and I'm like, oh my God, I have so much stuff, and like, where do I put this? What is all this?
It's
and
bulky.
It's like,
I mean, it's bulky.
It's like, it's consumables. It's like every fucking craft I've ever learned. Like, it's just endless.
Yeah, no, definitely.
When I remodeled this room, I got rid of so much stuff, but there's still like the things that I kept because they are, and I will use them one day when I'm not hustling so freaking hard. But I've got like just stacks of like gorgeous watercolor paper, and over here I've got some of these airbrushes and all this paint. It's like, oh God.
Well, and that's when like I don't consider myself a hoarder, but like when it comes to that kind of stuff, I am a hoarder. Like, I will definitely use this at some point, and I will. Like, that's the thing. It's not like just like I'm saving.
It's not gonna go bad. It's not food.
Right.
It's fine.
Exactly. Right.
Well, paint might maybe, but besides that.
Yeah, I think I'm probably getting at the point where I don't need to keep leather scraps that are like this big anymore, but because I have bins, it's ridiculous. But
I have both leather and wood, like just any size, tiny. I'm like, I'm gonna use this though. I will.
It is funny though. I mean, like, even though I'm joking about that, like, someone reached out to me about making just a simple like leather snap strap that was about this size. I've got about 1 million pieces, so I can use.
Perfect.
Yeah. But
I think a part of it too is like, this shit ain't cheap.
It's not. It's
leather.
Not.
It's not. We're gonna use every like piece that we can.
Yeah.
Like, get our money's worth.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, and it's also, I hate to waste it. I mean, again, I sound like a hoarder now, but I do hate to waste it. I mean, it's just like throwing something out that someone else could use. I do send people like, I mean, a lot of people do it now, but like, I'll send my scraps are smaller than a lot of other, like, people that make leather work aprons or bags or something like that. Their scraps are bigger, and that understandably, because the pieces that they need to be like this big, And so that leaves this much out there. But for me, I can use that for a bunch of different things. So my scraps are like half the size, but still, like, there's people that just want to explore leatherworking, and I'm always happy to send a bag of scraps that, again, just so that they don't go to waste. It's
that's a great idea.
I say it's good for the environment too. Like, I know we all don't want to have a big impact from what we're making.
Yep.
I'm using right now all this wood that I'm building, this giant Bride of Chucky's, all wood that I was gonna get burned, that I rescued. So it's like nice. It's like, oh, now they're becoming sculptures.
Exactly.
It was gonna get burned, but now it's a sculpture.
So how big? I think you said it earlier, but how big is it gonna be?
3 feet tall.
Oh, awesome.
20 inches wide at the biggest point. It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine.
When
I had my buddy when I was growing up.
Hide it.
I'll hide it in your bedroom.
Please no.
You should just bring it to Maker's Camp and work. You should just like put it in people's hotel rooms or something. Like,
it's so funny.
Kill you. I would be so livid, especially at that place.
I told Starbon, Amy, who runs Starbon, she's really, really funny, very nice. She's sponsoring the podcast now. And I told her, yes, they're dope.
They're another brand that gets it, by the way. Sorry.
No, it's fine. They do. And she's coming on the show too. I asked her today, awesome. Actually. I booked her today. But I told her I was going to Maker Camp, and she goes, please tell me you're going to be bringing Tiffany with you. And I'm like, oh, I will. And then she's like, while people are carving, just move her into different spots every once in a while. Just when they're not looking, just keep moving her around. I'm like, freaking love it.
I think when if it starts to get like dark, like not dark, but like when it starts to get dusk, that would be perfect time. I feel like.
I'm going to bring those little red lights I have on back there and just put them around her. So she's illuminated. Just have her lit up.
Awesome.
Scary.
Well, I want to say thank you for coming on. I know our hour is just about up. Is there anything that you want to talk about before we go? About anything that you have? Are you doing Make 48 again?
I would love to. I don't know. I don't have anything planned. Okay. I love them. They are a great group of people, and they're another one that they kind of just create their own family. Like I think that's kind of what their goal was just kind of create a family of makers, which I really respect. And so yeah, I don't have anything planned. It's another one of those where all their events are kind of in the middle of the country, and it's a lot of travel. So if they ever did anything closer to me, I would absolutely do it, because I just love that whole crew. They're really, really great people, and it was a lot of fun. So definitely support them for sure. But yeah, no, I don't think I have anything specific going on other than Maker's Camp coming up, and and hopefully WorkbenchCon next year, and just hopefully I get to hang out with you guys again soon. Yeah. But yeah, no, I appreciate it, and thank you so much for having me on. It's an honor, and Tiff, it was so nice to get to meet.
It was person. So nice. So we've never met in person, Mary Lou, until the Totalboat event, and I'm laughing because like we've known each other for a while, and like we live in the same state, and it took us going to Rhode Island to meet for the first time. It's like, oh hey.
It was so great. It was so great to meet your husband. Like, it's just everything. So it was super nice to get to hang out. And yeah, I just hope we get to have more of these events. I just hope that we get to, there's more than just a couple events a year. I feel like hopefully this community can, what Totalboat is doing, those types of events, I think, I just hope that those continue, because I think those are really, really, for me, it's a really restorative and exciting thing. It gets me recharged every time I get to hang out with other makers.
No, it really does. I told Mary Lou, like, I was just so excited to be going to that Totalboat event. Like, I'm like, I just need to hang out with people again. It's getting to the point where I need it more and more than it was fine when it was like once every year, once every 6 months. I'm like, oh God, I miss these people now. It's like,
while we're manifesting, I also hope that there's more West Coast events.
Yes.
Because damn y'all.
I know.
Well,
is there any talk of Maker Faire coming back in California?
I think there was actually just one. I don't know if it's like
there's
definitely
there's definitely maker
there
fair,
was one
regional
that
maker
just
fairs.
happened. Yeah,
there's definitely regional maker fairs, but I don't know if there's the like national ones.
Yeah, right. I don't know.
I mean, Starbon's in California. Let's see if we can talk them into having an event.
Let's see.
I'll come host
did
it.
One last year too.
You're like, I'm trying to get myself to come to the West Coast. I'll come host at Starbon. Let's do it.
Starbon, call her up. Call her up. Yeah.
But if Mary Lou does come out here, I will be calling you over, Ethan. You come over.
Absolutely. Oh yeah.
We'll have a party at my house.
I would hope so. Yeah. No, we gotta. Yeah, well, we have to figure out a Massachusetts event.
I'm gonna throw one.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I will.
Yay.
Yeah, it'd be fun. I was surprised at how many people, even at the Totalboat event, like there's a good group of us in this New England area. So
there is, and we all don't mind going to Rhode Island. Apparently,
nope.
We were like, "Yep, not. Let's go."
How far is that from you guys?
It was an hour and 40 minutes for me. It wasn't terrible.
It was like an hour for me.
Yeah,
but they had brunch. They had.
I'd say there was boating. There was brunch. There was there was
high
shenanigans.
Yeah, and shenanigans. We all got to shoot Lindsay's little gel gun. You know. You didn't get to shoot it?
No, I did, and I can't tell you how long I've wanted. I've seen that on TikTok and Instagram so much. I'm like, should I buy one? Because I just want to try it. And so, yeah, thank you, Lindsay. If you're out there.
Thank you.
Yay, Lindsay.
I don't know why all of our first instincts, though, we all shot ourselves first. It's like,
yes, I know. What was that?
We all shot ourselves in the arm. Like, how does it feel? Literally,
I think you shot my tramp stamp, if I'm not.
I did.
mistaken.
Oh, yes. So I met Ethan literally 5 minutes in. I gave him a tramp stamp. It was very intimate.
Yeah, we bonded real quick. I'm
using a wet napkin and I go to him. I whisper in his ear as I literally just met him. Sorry if it's dripping in uncomfortable spaces.
Oh my God.
And that's how you meet somebody. That's how you meet another maker.
Right next to my husband. Mike's like, whoops, sorry.
Very memorable.
That's
yes.
awesome. Good times. Good times.
Thank you. I'm so glad, Mary Lou, that you were able to come on with my super last minute ask too.
I miss you, Mary Lou. I'm so bummed I didn't get to see you, and hopefully we'll get to see each other this year. Within 12 months, we'll figure something out.
Fingers crossed.
Sounds good.
And Tiff, I'll see you soon. And
Absolutely.
Thank you again for having me on. This is
this was a blast.
Super fun.
Thanks for having me on again. Too.
You're welcome. Bye, guys. Have a good night.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Night.
I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you enjoyed getting to know Ethan more. If you didn't know him already, make sure you go check out his page. He has some really cool stuff on there. And, I love hanging out with Mary Lou whenever I can. So it was a really great night, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you are in the New England area and you've been wanting to learn to power carve, I'm going to be hosting some smaller classes very soon in Vermont. So if you are interested, please reach out to me and we'll get you on that list so that you don't miss out. And speaking of not missing out, sign up for the Sabertooth newsletter because we're going to have one more carving contest this year. So if you've been pondering getting into power carving and you really want a chance at winning some burrs and maybe some other things, this would interest you greatly. And if you need to get some burrs right now, you can use NightCarver10 in all caps to grab those now, save a little bit of money, and get yourself started. All right, guys, have a great day, and thank you again for listening.